daily deep dive into everything Utah Jazz.
It's time!
All season long and even in the off-season, it's Jazz Daily with JJ and Alex on your exclusive home of Utah Jazz basketball. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Happy Thursday to you. Next couple nights, you've got early Utah Hockey Club action tonight. 5 p.m. is your pregame right here on your radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. And also tomorrow, same thing. So you've got the Wild tonight. You've got on the road tomorrow, you've got the Winnipeg Jets. And so two of the best teams in the West taking on the Utah Hockey Club. And that's where we're going to try to get sneak everything in early today. And that's why we've got our Thursday standing appointment with Big T Thurl Bailey. TV analyst, of course, for the Utah Jazz, and, of course, Jazz legend himself. What's going on, Big T?
JJ, Alex, how are you guys?
Oh,
good.
We're good. Now, listen, I know that it was a rough loss last night. However, what's it like to watch a guy like SGA go off for like 54 points? First of all, this young team who was missing a lot of guys last night, a lot of outs on the injury report, this Jazz team fought pretty dang hard against the best team in the league.
Well, that's kind of your ultimate litmus test, right? Going against the best. And, you know, most people probably thinking it was going to be another blowout like the previous one there. But I think it shows you the progression of this team. What you just played from Coach Will Hardy, I think, says a lot. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is, Oklahoma City really. I mean, you have to be fortunate in a lot of this draft stuff and trades, and I'm not sure they saw how good SGA was going to be. I'm not sure if anybody did but him, but he is amazing, and he's a two-way player. And Coach Dagnall has that team really believing on the defensive side because they're the best in the business at it. But they've got some scorers, and SGA is a guy who plays at his own pace, not yours. He's going to play at the pace he wants to, and it's not downhill at 100 miles an hour. So it was as tough as that loss was because the Jazz were in that game and had an opportunity. It's always amazing to see a guy go to work out there and enjoy it.
You're right. His ability to play both ways is really impressive. Everyone's going to look at the stat sheet and see the 54 points, but then there's the 8 rebounds, the 5 assists, the 3 steals and 2 blocks. How many guys have scored 50 but also had 3 steals and 2 blocks?
It's some MJ stuff right there.
His numbers are amazing, but my question, Thurl, for you is you have a chance to watch every team in the league up close and personal. You know this league, and you get to see Nikola Jokic. You get to see SGA. Who do you think's the MVP in the league right now? Because Shai made a pretty good case last night.
To me, Shai is right now. And, you can't go man for man on this. You've got to go. Both of them are great individual players, no question. Both of them have an amazing impact on their team. They make their teams better. So it's close. It's really close, and I'm not discounting Jokic because he's won it 3 times. But I think that Shai has proven with what he has now around him and what his team is doing and where they are halfway through the season, in my book, he gets the MVP.
Well, let's talk about this Jazz team and dealing with just a different roster, it seems like, every night. I don't know what the record is as a franchise to just have a different starting 5, it seems like, every night, or different mix of guys. But every guy who's asked to start for Will Hardy, to get minutes for Will Hardy, it seems like he's wringing out the absolute best from the guys who are available on those nights. What's been impressive about some of these guys who we don't necessarily see starting across the board, or wouldn't necessarily be starting if some of the injuries were at the spot that they were? I think we all know what the additions can be from these big names when you see that John Collins is going to be available and that Lauri Markkanen was going to be available and Walker's having a great year. But we're also watching right before our eyes the development of these young guys and other guys who are also fighting to stay in the league and to stay relevant. So how do you get that whole mix of all those things that I just mentioned to work on a night-to-night basis for Will Hardy?
Well, first of all, do you know how hard that is in basketball to have that many different lineups? I'm thinking that the number right now is around 23, 24. But that is a hard thing to do and get the most out of each guy. Now, it probably doesn't work out every single game like the coaching staff wants it to, but on most nights that I've seen, been around these guys like Steve McCowluke they've been ready. You know, they may be inserted into the lineup, and in the next game they may not even get off the bench. And that, as a player, that is just difficult, right? When you just don't know sometimes. You know the core guys, if healthy, are going to play, but when some of those guys are out and your number's called, it's like a switch that's got to be flipped, and you've got to be out there and ready. I thought a poignant moment of the game in the fourth quarter was when Isaiah Harkless was out there D'ing up SGA and Jalen Williams. I thought that trust to have a guy like that who has had an incredible story. There's a lot of stories out there, and he's one of them that's worked his tail off to get to that point. And Coach trusts him in that point of the game to go out and be the rugged defender that he knew he could be. So we see a lot of, just because we travel with the team, we see a lot of these internal stories and and we talk to these guys, and it's just fun. It's fun to see a Bryce Sensabaugh just come into his own and be himself and have this knack to score. Keontae George making great strides in less than 2 full seasons. So yeah, there's a lot of stories there. I think that's the thing it gives you when you talk about all these lineups. There's so many stories in there of guys like Johnny Juzang, who's healing up from his broken hand, who, you know, he was always ready as well. So yeah, there's a lot of stories in there. You can go all the way down to Cody Williams, who, you know, I think is that obviously when you look at him, he's like, this guy is like super young, and he is young, but he's got a mature IQ, and his body's going to catch up with him. And, you know, I'm hoping, and I wouldn't doubt that he's going to end up being better than his brother. He's got a little while, right? He's got to get a lot of reps in. He's got to put some muscle on, but he has that potential.
One of the interesting stat lines I noticed in the box score that maybe got a little bit overlooked was Keontae George. It's not his points, but I saw 10 assists and 2 turnovers, Thurl. That's amazing considering his development as we've seen. What are you seeing out of Keontae lately in his development as a playmaker and as a guard who can take care of the basketball?
Yeah, I just spoke about his quick growth over the past, 1.5 seasons. And I think what has really helped Keontae in a roundabout way is having Isaiah Collier here and out there. I see Isaiah as a guy who has played true point guard. And I see Keontae George as a guy who has had to really learn how to learn that craft, right? A guy who had not spent much time at that position, but the development has been amazing for him. And even games now when Isaiah is out there and Keontae, it allows Keontae to be in a more natural position off the ball and not have to worry all the time about being the floor general. He can make decisions, when he's coming off screens. If he doesn't have it, he can be that playmaker, secondary playmaker. But I think that has pushed him a little bit to really kind of hone in on what he's good at. And he's really become good at that first action offensively on the pick and roll, right? If that big doesn't come up and help on the side of the screen, then Keontae usually rears up and knocks that 3 down. But he has really learned how to learn that control of going to the hoop and making decisions based on what's open.
Jazz head to Memphis day after tomorrow, and, of course, Big T Thurl Bailey is going to be absolutely right there making that call with Craig Bolerjack as usual on the Jazz Television Network and the SCG Network. And so, Big T, we love those insights, man. And I've turned a corner on really appreciating all of these young guys and the development that's happening with them. And we've loved it so far. And your analysis is always spot on. So we appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate it. I think that game last night really made a big statement about the development of this team.
Big T, man. Safe travels out there on the road, man, and bring us back a trinket.
All right. Okay, guys.
There you go.
Talk
There's
to you
Big
later.
T. Yeah, there you go. See you later, T.